So welcome everyone to our Wednesday session. And this session, as I said, we're going to veer off a little bit because of what happened to my friend. Cybersecurity is huge right now, and we're at a really strange time in our history because of AI. And we all know I love AI. I love it, love it, love it. But the problem with AI is, welcome, Lauren. So good to see you. And Catherine has joined us as well. Yay. What's going on with AI, which is kind of scary, is that if you so for me, these sessions are recorded and they're on YouTube. So they're public, right? What someone could do is go to AI and, oh, hey, Susan, so good to see you. They could go to AI and they could download my voice, and then they could do a script and use my voice to call my mother. And it sounds just like me, and have me say to her, oh my gosh, I need money right away. I'm in trouble. I need you to do this. And have my mother, and it sounds exactly like me. She's, there's that urgency. There's that fear. Yeah, Lauren, exactly. Oh my God. And it would sound exactly like me. So we have to be very careful. So AI, the way they do it is, it's just, you can download it. I mean, I don't know the program that you can do it, but I just was reading about this, that it's becoming more sophisticated, where right now, for instance, what is going to happen is customer service is going to start to get better, because you can literally speak into AI through certain programs. Let's say I don't speak French, but I could speak into the AI, and AI would then translate what I'm saying into French in my voice. So it would sound like perfectly spoken French language, right? So it's not just AI, it's also, Facebook videos, exactly, yeah. So there's just a lot that's happening technology-wise, and we have to really stop and not get into that zone of fear. And I think that that's really what happens with a lot of people, and why they get money stolen and why they get scammed, is because your immediate reaction is fear. So with my friend Mary, what happened is, so Mary is, how old is Mary? Mary is 63 years old. She's a physician's assistant, which means that she's just, in the United States, she's just one step below a doctor. So the next step up for her would be to be a doctor. She's a very smart woman. She lost her husband 2 years ago. He died of ALS. And so she's been living alone, which was new for her, right? And, oh, just one second, I'm gonna, Lauren says that she sadly got scammed and hacked by someone impersonating a financial advisor for crypto. And I lost a lot, thousands. FBI has done nothing. Okay, yeah. So we're going to talk about that too, Lauren. So this is where they get you. They really get you with the fear part. So what happened was, probably Mary had clicked on a link at some point. She thought it was when she bought something, but it could have been as easy as just clicking on an email link. And this is why having really good malware protection on your computer, on your phone, is important. There's a lot of different ones out there. I wouldn't say Norton, and the only reason I say that is not because they're not a good company, but Norton seems to be the name of a company that scammers use a lot to trick you into thinking you have an invoice, or thinking that your computer is hacked. So back to Mary's story. She's working on her computer's sitting there, and all of a sudden her computer starts going off. It's like bam, bam, and it's like virus, right? Whatever it is that they're showing her. And then, yeah, Wilma says, a friend of mine got her bank account emptied from someone in the Philippines. Yeah, okay, so let's get off now. You're getting spicy. So she gets this thing, and it's like, I can't remember if it was call Microsoft or if she got a call from Microsoft. I think it said call Microsoft, and she called it. And this actually happened to my friend Christy as well, who is a financial advisor. And so what happens is, your computer's going off, you get this message, call Microsoft. So what's happening right now? You're fearful, you're scared. Hey, Diane, good to see you. Hey, Mary Lynn, you're fearful, you're scared, and now you're in high beta, and you can't think clearly. So of course you call the number, your computer's been hacked. We need to get in. Here's a way to help us get into your computer, right? So there's like, I do all this team viewer, whatever, you let somebody into your computer. So of course she did. Now with my friend Christy, she had the wherewithal to call her tech guy on her other phone while she was talking to this guy. And her tech guy said, hang up immediately. So here's the thing about Microsoft. Microsoft does not care if you have viruses on your computer. Microsoft does not care if something's going wrong with your computer. They know that it's up to you to take your computer into somebody to get fixed. They do not care. So if you ever get a message, call Microsoft, that is a scam. Call Apple, that is a scam. Amazon, that's another one that they're using now. That's what got this financial journalist who got scammed out of $50,000. And I'm going to share the article with you. She was called by Amazon. Amazon's not going to call you. They'll send you an email, but even then we're going to talk about ways you need to look. So here's Mary. Mary gets this thing. She calls Microsoft, and now they've told her, have you purchased child porn? And she said, oh my God, no. Well, we have two incidences, your computer has child porn on it, all these things. They just start, you're part of this investigation, blah, blah, blah. We need you to talk to the FBI. We have the FBI on the line right now. FBI gets on the line. This is Sergeant so-and-so. This is my badge number. This is the number that you can use to call me, right? Sounds all legit. And so she is in this fear zone now. They tell her you cannot tell anyone. So this is what they do. They isolate you. And in the article I'm going to share, that's what they did to her too. They isolate you. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell your husband. Don't tell any person. So when she's going through this, and this lasted months, sadly, it lasted 2 months before it finally came to a head. But so she is telling me that something really bad is happening, but she can't share it with me. And I'm like trying to figure out, is it work? Is it this? No. And so she can't tell me. So they're keeping her isolated. So they start grooming her. They don't ask for money right away. They start grooming her. And then they say, okay, we need you. They try to find out how much money she does have available. And she actually had a good amount of money available. So they have her take around 100,000. I think it's like 3 weeks later, 100,000 out. And she puts it in a shoebox and she mails it. Okay. And we're all, oh my God, how could she possibly do this? How could you do this? But here's the thing. And this is what I've heard a lot of people say, is that the tactics they use are cult-like tactics. They have you on the phone for hours and hours and hours. They're getting into your head. So one guy, I think in this article, was saying these are like interrogation things when you're trying to get somebody to admit to something they didn't do. And also it's like a very cult-like thing. In cults, they isolate you. They start to brainwash you. And so that's what's happening with these people. And it's very intricate. Like I did the timeline by the time I stepped in and helped her, I took all of her notes, and thank God she took copious notes. Every day she wrote notes. And we did this huge timeline. And you could see how they just badgered her and badgered her and badgered her, but made her think that she was helping them. You're helping the FBI. We're so proud of you. They kept giving her encouragement. So then what happened, and this was kind of the ending point, was they had her transfer 300,000 of her money into Coinbase, into Bitcoin. And as soon as she did it and set up the account, they tried to get into the account and the account got locked. So Mary was locked out of the account and they were locked out of the account. And I think that happened around August. So then they just kept badgering Mary to get into Coinbase, and Coinbase kept giving Mary the runaround. She couldn't get into her account. And meanwhile, when she had taken that money out at the banks kept telling her, this is a scam. This is a scam. You're being scammed. And she was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And they're like, no, we see this all the time. You're being scammed. So she was being told by people, this is a scam, but she still didn't believe it because she was in it. And finally, during the Coinbase, this is like the middle of September, I'm talking to her and she kind of lets out a little bit about the computer. And I say, Mary, Microsoft will never do that. That's a scam. And she started to get upset. And I said, just go to the FBI office, because we had one in Portland. I said, go to the FBI office. And she did. And of course, it's a scam. So now she has to get out of the scam, and she's got to get her money out of Coinbase. So the scammers leave because she's basically like, I'm done with you. This is a scam. I know it. But now Coinbase is not giving her her money. So from September, it took until January to get the money out of Coinbase. And I made a list of all the reports I filed on her behalf. And it was voluminous. We filed reports with everyone. We filed reports with the bank, right? So you automatically go to the bank, the police department, the Portland Police Department, the FBI, the FTC, the state of Oregon, FINRA, Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, sorry, Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, the FinCEN, which is a financial one too, Better Business Bureau for Coinbase, and then the Internet Crime Complaint, which is IC3, which is also FBI. We followed all of these reports. The only entity that did anything was the Department of Justice for the state of Oregon. They actually contacted Coinbase and said, release her money because this is illegal. And Coinbase finally, in January, released her money. So she was able to get the $300,000 back. Thank God. Thank God Coinbase locked it up. But Coinbase was also acting criminally because Coinbase was making it so hard for her to even get into her account, let alone transfer the money out, that it was criminal the way they were treating her. And so we had to file all these complaints. And then finally she got her money back. But the FBI did nothing. They don't really care. This happens all the time. The Portland Police Department, I think that they actually did try to reach out to Coinbase, but they can't reach out to any of these hackers because it happens. So she was out 100,000, but she got 300,000 back. So if something happens to you like this with your financial thing, with your financial institution or anybody, if you have been scammed, contact your state, contact their justice department, because your state might be able to help you. There's no guarantee, but at least your state will want to do something for you. The other entities, literally nothing, not even the SEC did anything. They don't really care. They're just collecting data. And you hear these stories about people getting their money back, but we've yet to know anybody who has gotten their money back. So it's easy to sit back and say, oh my God, this will never happen to me. But when you're in that moment and you're operating from the energy of fear, you are very vulnerable to anything and everything that they're telling you, right? So if someone tells you you've got child pornography on your computer, of course, your immediate reaction was like, oh my God, because that's almost like the worst thing that could possibly be on your computer, right? And you think you're dealing with the FBI. There's so many things you can do. You can hang up. You can call the FBI. If it's Amazon that's calling you and they say, oh, there's something wrong with your account, and you go into your account and you see nothing, that's a sign that nothing is going on. That's the sign. Yes, Lauren says the bad guys are brilliant. And it's true. They are using tactics that are so sophisticated that the average person doesn't expect it. And there's also that, especially all of us here are givers, right? And we're very compassionate people. So you always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And even when you have doubts, like Mary kept saying, I feel like you're lying. I feel like you're scamming me. They're like, no. And in fact, in their isolation, in the article that I'm going to share with you, they told her that they said, if you talk to an attorney, I cannot help you anymore. And you will be considered not cooperative, your home will be raided, and your assets will be seized, and you'll be arrested. And that's basically what they told Mary as well. They told her that if you tell anybody, then you're breaking, our pact here, and you're going to be on your own, and you'll no longer have protection. And so right there, you start to fear. They're putting that fear of God in you that you better cooperate, and you want to believe the truth. And that's the thing with like gamblers too. That's like a gambling mentality. When you start to lose so much money, you still put in more money because you think, I will recover it. I will recover it. I will recover it. Right. So this isn't something that is so out of character for all of us. It's something that happens to us every day. Like, if you play the lottery and you never win, but you still keep playing it because there's that hope that maybe one day you will win, right? And it's the same thing with this. It's like she kept hoping that it was all true. She kept hoping that, yes, okay, I'm doing exactly what they're telling me to do. This has to have a good ending because I'm being a good person. And instead, you're being scammed. And so I just want to go here to this. So Beth said, Coinbase locked my husband and his account because he had a new driver's license picture. Exactly. And then they try to make it so hard for you, Beth, to get your money out that it becomes criminal on their part because people do give up and Coinbase gets to keep the money. And we're talking, that's a lot of money. So if you don't get anywhere with Coinbase, Beth, tell your husband to call your state Department of Justice and they will get on them. You just tell them exactly what's been going on. But here's the thing that we all have to do. If you find yourself in these situations, make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're journaling. I talked to this person. This is the phone number. This was the date. This is how long I was on the phone with them, right? Because you want to show that that this wasn't just like some fluke and you just didn't give these people the money. The bad news is that Trump removed a protection that the IRS had for everyday people. So if you got scammed out of money, like Mary got scammed out of the 100,000, you didn't owe taxes on it. But that has changed and that protection is now gone. So now Mary owes money on the money that was stolen from her. So not only is she getting it from the scammers, she got it from Coinbase and now she's getting it from the US government. So she did talk to the advocacy program at the IRS. And they told her to pay $12,500 and she might owe more. But she did, when she got the $300,000 back, she put it back into her account. So hopefully that was out of her retirement account. So hopefully the IRS will forgive that and not penalize her. But you won't, you're not only going to get screwed by the hackers, you might get screwed by the IRS if you're in the United States. And I don't know what the Canadians' tax government is, but they could as well. So let me see. Lauren said her whole body was full tilt, freaking out and warning her, and she ignored it. Because again, Lauren, it's what, when people terrorize you, when people interrogate you, cults, they terrorize you so that you are in that fight, flight, or freeze situation. And, when they're telling you things like you're going to be in trouble, I mean, we're all raised since we were little kids, when you're in trouble, it's not a good thing, right? And so these people supposedly in authority are telling you you're in trouble. Of course, your body is going to go into this. So that's completely natural. But that's when we have to stop and go, wait a second, I'm scared. Just like, you know what? I'm going to hang up. I'll call you back in a minute. You can give yourself that space. If they're going to arrest you for something, believe me, they're going to arrest you in a half an hour from now. You can give yourself space. You can hang up. They might try calling you back, but you can hang up and give yourself that space. You can also hang up and call the police and say, this is what's happening. This is what they're telling me. Or you can hang up and call the FBI if they're saying you're talking to the FBI. But here's one thing that is very well known. The police will never call you. The police don't call drug addicts and say, hey, we know that you're dealing drugs and we're going to come and get you. They just show up. And that is exactly what would happen. If you had child porn on your computer, really and truly, and you didn't know it, the police would come and bang on your door and say, we have reason to believe you have child pornography on your computer. We're coming in, we're confiscating it. Because they're never going to give you advance notice. You'll delete stuff. So just remember that when they're telling you these things are going to happen, just go, okay, fine, let them happen, right? Hang up, call the FBI, call the police, do something, but give yourself that space. You don't have to talk to anybody, and nobody in authority, in real authority, is ever going to contact you. They will come to your house. And the CIA doesn't operate in the United States. So if they say, hey, the CIA is going to come and see you, just go, that's impossible, because they don't operate in the United States like that. So, then let me see. Wilma said, this happened to me, lost approximately $1,000. They wanted more for a pickup that they wanted to ship, right? Couldn't tell anyone. Finally, I got smart and went to the RCMP, so that she's in Canada. with all the emails and was told it was a scam. And even the bank told me the same thing with the emails. I stopped. I could tell it was wrong. Yeah, I mean, but at the time you feel like it's right. And so Lauren says, mine was on Telegram. Criminal hacked into a crypto expert's account and impersonated him, right? We have to be really careful with who we're talking to. And that happens a lot in social media. If you think you're talking to one person, you probably may not be, especially if they're really friendly with you, right? Most people who are popular and who have a big business and are doing well are not going to give you that kind of time, right? You know, I've studied under famous, busy people. They don't give you that kind of time and attention. They give you very little time and attention. They'll give you exactly what you need if you ask a question, but they're not going to give you more. I was reading about somebody just like what you experienced, Lauren, where they went, you know, they got a DM from somebody they really admired, they'd been following, and then the person was like being so friendly and generous. It's like, no, that's a red flag, right? Because busy people just don't have the time for that. And then, oh, so Susan says, when you say call the state, who exactly? So you're in Washington State, Susan. So you would call the Department of Justice for the Washington State, or the Washington State Department of Justice, or you could call the Attorney General's office. Either one of those are going to get you where you need to be. And, you know, honestly, banks need to do more. They need to, if you're pulling out large amounts of money, they need to say, hey, we have to put a 24-hour hold on this. Here's a thing about scammers, and you need to go to the police or the FBI and make sure you're not being scammed. And then Claudia says, good thing I'm on mute because you might have heard the utters some choice words here. Exactly. And so Mary Lynn says, what is Bitcoin? So Bitcoin is cryptocurrency, Mary Lynn. So it's not something that's commonly used. Yeah, it's just something they use. It's electronic currency. And yeah, we won't go into that. So, but the point here is that what we have to do as consumers, we have zero protection. Yes, exactly, Wilma. So Wilma says, thank God she has 1,000 limit for withdrawals. That was the red flag. Yes, exactly. And in the United States, we don't, I mean, if you went to the ATM, there's limits, but if you go to the bank, there's really no limits. And so you have to be really careful. And the story I'm going to share with you about this financial journalist, I mean, they told her, they probably had hacked into her computer by going into an email, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And they could see her son. And that's how they got her. They said, we can see your son. Well, you know, they told her what he was doing and she freaked out. So when they started to, you know, tell her to do these things, she thought, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, right? And so she gave them 50,000 in a shoebox, and a car pulled up, and they told her, don't look at the driver, don't look at the person, just give them the shoebox. And she did. Now it could have even been a delivery service, you know, who knows? But they took her money, they took her 50,000, and it was gone. So this can happen to anybody. Even, you know, you can be really smart. And in fact, you know, you think it happens to older people, but actually the new statistics that are coming out is people who are like the generation of Gen Z and millennials, they're the ones that are getting hacked the most. So, you know, for those of us who are older, yes, it happens. I think more for us, it's more the email one, but it does happen to younger generations. So it's really important to share this information to everyone. You know, I tell everyone, Microsoft is never going to call you. Amazon is never going to call you. They're too busy. You know, they're too big. They're too busy. They don't have time to call millions of people and say, this is what's happening with your account. You'll get an email, which now we're going to go into the email part of this. So the emails can be so tricky. So before I do that, does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to share? I should say, yes, Susan, go ahead.
Just a quick overview. I don't use the phone anymore at all. I have a phone right beside my computer, but unfortunately, even with my hearing aids, I can hear noise, but I cannot distinguish one word from another. Even you, Leah, if I talk to you on the phone, you have an incredible, clear, sharp, precise voice. So I don't answer the phone ever. And I just wonder, is that sort of a tiny element of protection?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because scammers call all the time. And so
That's
Susan, like, I don't know if you have grandchildren, but another really tricky way they do it is they say, we have your granddaughter, we've kidnapped her, we need this much money, and you'll hear somebody crying in the background. I think this happened to one guy. And he said, ask her what my birth date is. And of course, you know, they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
they're not with your granddaughter, so they had to hang up. So, you know, there's ways that if they say we have this person, or if it is your, you know, if it sounds like your granddaughter or your daughter or your son or your mother, whoever, and it sounds like their voice, you could ask them a question that only they would know. Like, you know, when's my birthday, mom? And if it's your real mom, she, you know, she'll go, well, I mean, even the fake person will go, I'm not, what are you talking about? I'm not going to go, no, mom, I need to know. I need to know this isn't fake. What's my birthday? Of course, your real mom will say, your birthday is this, and then go on, right? But the hackers won't, they'll try to get around it. So just make sure that you're really like giving yourself that space to think for a second. Okay. You know, you're in this high power thing, just think. And you can always say, hang on a minute, and then just put the phone down and go, okay, right? And then calm yourself and go, okay, now how can I think this through? And then, yes, hackers are now duplicating numbers. So that's what happened to Mary. And that's what happened to this woman in this article, that it looks like you're calling the FBI when you call this, because they do, I can't remember what it's called. It's like jacking or something, but it looks like the same number, but it's not going to that number. That's just the number that shows up on your phone, but it's not really the number that they're calling from. They have these rerouters. And so they're able to use that number, but they're talking to you from a different one. And then they can even call from your family member's number. Yes, exactly, Diane. Because again, they're jacking it, right? They find out through your phone or through somehow, you know, once they get into your system, they can see exactly what phone numbers you're calling and who those phone numbers belong to. And then Lauren says, people putting pics of their children and grandchildren on Facebook has always alarmed me and not felt safe. Yeah, because they know exactly, these hackers, they go on to your social media. Because once they get into your computer, they know everything about you. They read your emails. They know everything about you. They know your fears. They know what you're doing. You know, they knew Mary was a widow, right? They knew she had life insurance. They knew all kinds of things about her because they had gotten into her computer. So we're going to go into, and I'll show you how easy it is for them to do that. I'll share my screen. So let's see here. Let me get rid of this and sure that, I think this is the wrong account. Sorry, put this down for a sec. Oh yeah, no, this is the right one. So ironically enough, what happened this morning, usually Gmail stops scammy emails from coming through, but I saw this. It was thank you for your order. And I'm like, don't think I made an order. And this is your user profile adjustment request has been accepted and the relevant modifications have been completed. Okay, this right here is not even something that an American company or a Canadian company or even a European company would say. It's like they start off like this. No, they would start off, hi, you know, Leah or whatever. And they would say, you know, your invoice has been completed or whatever. Or you would get a more official looking email that would say your invoice has been paid. It wouldn't come across like this. But the real red flag is, he says, we value your business and are committed to your satisfaction. Please don't, and then there's a typo, and then here's a telephone number, and then hesitate to reach out if you need any assistance. And then what is this? I don't even know. I don't even want to touch it. And then here is this, and I'm not going to open it. I'm just going to go here and go, okay, wait a second. I don't have Norton. And it looks all official because they know how to copy it, but it's not. So I know that this is spam and I'm going to flag it as such. But another thing that they do is they will do like, they hack your friends' accounts. So here's my friend, Mary Lewis. Her name's Mary Ellen, actually. And so right there, I knew, I only know Mary Ellen Lewis. And if I look at her email, and Google's good about this, it brings up, that is a whack email address. I don't even know that email address. And then I have no intention to conjure up any memories, just wanted to share this image. Okay, if I click that, boom, they've got access to my computer. So we've got to be really careful about any links. Opening your email is okay, as far as I know, but you cannot touch any links. So here's another one. It looks like, I mean, I know so iCloud storage. Okay, this looks kind of legit. And you can see the little, Apple Cloud thing. Dear customer, your storage is full. But right here, there's a typo. So, okay, I know that. And then they never offer 50. It's always 100 or more. And so I'm like, but it looks official. Like if you look at this, everything looks really official. So if I'm not paying attention, I can click on this and then now they're in my computer. So you have to be really careful. Oh, and again, look at the email address. Customers at Brosilona Finance. That's not iCloud. That's a huge giveaway. So the first and foremost thing you should do is just look at who it's coming from. So Kathleen Lester is somebody I know. Some of you might know her. She does Animal Reiki. She's been hacked. I've gotten quite a few emails from her that are hack emails. But here's an email address that it's coming from. That's not her email address. But one thing you've got to be really careful about is sometimes the email address will be like theirs. So like, let's say Kathleen Lester's was KathleenLester@gmail.com. It might just be like Kathleen with 2 L's or Kathleen with 3 E's. So you don't catch it right away. So just always make sure you look, if it sounds suspicious, look at the return email address. And then that's a dead giveaway. It's like, oh no, these are all spam. Like here's one from Hulu. It looks kind of official, but I go up here and that's not Hulu at all. Like they try to do it with info at, because in case my email, if I'm looking at it like on my mobile, it might only show info at, and I might go, oh, this is Hulu, whatever. So just be really careful when you open these emails, because as soon as you click that link, and this is what happens on Facebook, I'll never open a link that somebody sends me on Facebook because through Messenger, because so many times people's accounts are hacked and they go, oh, I saw this picture and I thought of you. And it could be from somebody I know really well. And I'm like, I'm not doing that link. So I'll then reach out to them. Did you send me a photo? And if they go, yeah, I did, then I'll go back. But I never just click on the link from Messenger, because so many times, because as soon as you click on that link, now your Facebook account or your Instagram account is going to be hacked. So it's like we have to be really diligent and vigilant about what we're opening and what we're allowing into our space, right? Like, we get so many emails like you, Susan, you don't even use the phone. You're using strictly emails. So you've got to be really careful and look, who is that email from? Don't ever click any type of links, even from us at SARA. We can't trust that our account hasn't been hacked. You never really know when your account's been hacked. You always have to have your friends go, oh, hey, I think your account's been hacked because I got this really weird message from you. If you haven't changed your passwords in 6 months to a year, change your passwords, on your Gmail, on any kind of accounts, on your Facebook, all these different things. Update your passwords, use ones, don't use things like your birth date and all these things that they tell you not to use, your dog's name, because that's how people can get your passwords. But let's see here. Then it says, let's see. Oh, Lauren says, oh, I know that we already got to that one. Claudia said, also look at the email address. It's usually very different. Yes, from the username. Exactly. And then Mary Lynn says, I got Norton and Geek Fraud email. I get Norton. Yeah, exactly. And you just send them straight to spam, Mary Lynn. Mark them as spam. So they go to the spam folder. And then Lauren says, we can always call the legitimate company and look up their toll-free number online. Yeah. And another thing you need to be really careful of, sometimes, like I said, they might only change one letter in the return email address. So something that's been happening is, like, let's say you get an email from Kohl's and you click on Kohl's, which is a department store in the United States here, and you go to a website, it looks just like Kohl's website, and you buy something and you put in your credit card information. It's a dummy site. That is happening too. So when you're on the internet, like sometimes if you type in, like, let's say you're typing in Kohl's on the internet and you don't pay attention, you could go to a dummy site. So you've just got to be really aware when you're on the computer, if you're going to buy something, if you're going to purchase something with your credit card, make sure you're on the right site, that it looks legitimate, that, that exactly where you are, and you don't trust links that maybe were sent to you through an email. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to send you a couple of links to, I found a really good list from Purdue University on things you should do to protect yourself. And then I found another one from Morgan Stanley that I'm going to send to you all, just like, exactly what we've talked about here, that different things that you can do to protect yourself. And I'm so lucky because I'm pretty tech savvy and I know the warning signs, like, if my computer goes off, I know, okay, that's a virus. And that's not, I'm not going to call Microsoft, or I'm not going to pick up a Microsoft phone call. Because sometimes what happens is it'll go beep, beep, beep. And then you get a call from Microsoft. That's what happened to my friend Christy. But I think with Mary's, it was just call this number. And she called the number. And she said she even looked while she was talking to them at Microsoft, and they said they had the FBI. She even looked to make sure that the number matched Microsoft's number. And of course it did, right? Because they have those jacking machines that make you think you're talking to Microsoft. So it's just such a scam, but we as consumers, we can protect ourselves, and we have to, because as I said, there is no protection for us. They're never going to get your money back. So if you don't have the money to lose, then you really need to be diligent. And then, no, you need to, yeah, you can send to spam first so that your email provider, Gmail or whoever you're using, Outlook, knows that that's spam, and then you can delete it when you send it. After you send it to spam, you can delete it from your spam folder. But yeah, you don't want to have those kind of emails coming in. You want to always make sure that you're marking them, and that way Gmail, Outlook, whoever you're using, Hotmail, that they're like then directing those type of messages. I'm really actually shocked that that message came in. One time I got a message from PayPal saying, here's your invoice for $750 or something. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't buy anything, but it was early in the morning. And I went to click on it and I'm like, wait a second. I had to wake up and go, wait. I'm in fear here. And I looked at the email address and I'm like, oh, it was a prank. And I was so close to clicking it because, again, right, that fear comes up for us, right? Like Claudia's nodding, is like, yes, when you're scared, you're going to do silly crap. So, you can't beat yourself up. Like Lauren, this is something that happens to everybody in some form or another. And that was another thing that Mary had to deal with. People were like, oh my God, how could you do that? That was so stupid. They don't understand that the psychological warfare that these people are waging on you is serious. And of course, you have your own inner compass that's like, I want to do the right thing. I want, we're people pleasers too, as women especially. So there's that goes against us. There's all these things that we already have stacked against us when something like this occurs. So we can't beat ourselves up or beat each other up over this. We have to be advocates for each other. And I was so honored that I was able to do that for Mary and help her, because she has told me, if you aren't there helping me, I would have given up, because you get so depressed and you get so burnt out and so upset by what's happened that you're just like, forget it. I'll just lose the money. She said, I would have just let that money in Coinbase and just said, okay, I lost it. But it's another reason why it's very important to share with someone what's happening so that you have an advocate that can then help you, like, really think through, because you need somebody to talk to. Like Mary needed, once it was out to everybody, Mary really needed to talk about it. She really needed to, like, this is what happened and I'm embarrassed and I'm upset at myself. But it's like, she needed me to be there and be like, it's okay. This happened. It could happen to any of us. And the bad thing is that, there's no Calvary. There's nobody there that's going to save you or take care of you when this does happen. You have to get this figured out all on your own. And that just is really upsetting. So, we have more messages here. So, Maryland said, oh yeah, you've deleted. And then Beth said, should you ever accept payment from Venmo or PayPal? Yeah, you can accept payment from them, but just make sure that you know exactly who's sending you the money and you're aware that the money's coming. If you're not aware that money's coming and you get a Venmo or a PayPal, absolutely not. But here's another thing. I'll tell you another story that happened that you have to be careful about in just a second. So, And then Wilma says, yes, I did too. Unreal. And then Dawn says, Gmail considers my main email address as spam because someone used it to send out 16,000 or 18,000 plus spam emails. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, you might, Dawn said that. So yeah, Dawn, you might want to get a new email address. And then Wilma, for PayPal, I reported the email. I received several emails that owe money. Yeah, there's really not a lot PayPal can do because they're fake emails and there's nothing they can do to stop people from using like their logo and things. And then, yeah, Mary Lynn said to me too about PayPal, Wilma. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing that they can do to help you with that. But oh gosh, there was a story that I was going to show. Oh, so here's the problem with someone hacking your email. There was a couple, this was in Business Insider, a reporter reported on this, that there was a couple and they wanted to build a pool during 2020. And the person that they wanted to build their pool was a very eccentric person that only operated through email. He didn't like to use the phone. So they found out, yes, he could do the pool, but it was going to be like a whole year. So then one day they got an email. It was like 7 months later. They got an email saying, hey, I can do your pool now, but I'm going to need, he had told him it was going to be like $30,000. It's like, I'm going to need the $30,000. I'm going to need 15,000 now. And then $15,000, you know, whenever in a couple days or something. So they paid him and then they paid him the next payment. And then they didn't hear from him. So they wrote an email. They thought they were writing to this guy, right? But they're not, because there was like one letter or something just different and they were writing to someone else and they didn't realize it. And they're like, yeah, we're going to be there on this day, blah, blah, blah. And so that day came and they didn't show up. So they kept emailing, nothing. So then they tried calling the office, calling. Finally, I think it was after a couple of days or so, they finally get a hold of the guy and they say, hey, we Venmo'd you $30,000. And he's like, what's Venmo? He didn't even know what Venmo was. They had Venmo'd hackers, but they had no idea because they thought they were talking to the guy that was going to do their pool. So we just have to be really vigilant. I mean, like, that's a really scary one. That one was scary to me because if you're only working through email, and that's what the hackers realized. They're like, oh, we're in their computer. Look, they're only doing this through email. This is going to be easy. So, and Venmo won't give you your money back. Chase Bank is who they were working with. They won't give you your money back. You've been scammed. And they're like, well, you've been scammed. So there's nothing we can do for it. So you just have to protect yourself. And, you know, as I learn more, I'll share with you, like maybe there's going to be a way that we can protect ourselves or a way for us to get money back. But right now there really isn't that I know of. So if you have been hacked, do contact your state Justice Department, or if you're in Canada, maybe the Justice Department there for your territory or your province or whoever would be kind of handling that, and then see if there's any kind of remedies for you. So Wilma says the RCMP told me that if anyone asks for money, to ask more questions to protect ourselves, plus to send message to the RCMP. Yeah, you can send messages, but they're not going to get your money back, and they're not going to go after these people because it's too big of a crime. It's like it's too widespread and there's nothing they can really do, they say. I mean, I think there is things they can do to protect us, but it probably is too much work and too much money. So we're already at 11:15. Does anyone have any questions? Or yeah, that would be RCMP. Yeah. Susan, yeah, go ahead. Oh, you're still on mute, Susan. And hey, Kelly, so glad you're here. There you go. Okay, Susan, yeah, we can hear you. I think we can hear you now.
I don't know if this is working or not, but I have not had problems yet. When I work with a bank that is not traded on the market. They're private and they stay that way, and it's safe, and I feel good about it. But I have all my inheritance in one money market fund, right, account, and that stays very closed. It can only do business with that in person with them. And then I have 3 checking accounts, which I use cards or checks or whatever. And I have asked every time I've had to make any kind of a change, I ask, is there any way that somebody who gets a hold of the information for checking account A can get into B? And the answer is always no. We
Yeah.
make sure that so I make a point of keeping only in A, B, and C and not the big guy, money I'm willing to lose.
Right.
So
Absolutely. And the banks are really good about protecting you. I mean, bank fraud is way less prevalent because the banks do protect you. And I like that you have to go into your bigger account. You have to go into the office. There are things that you can do to protect your big money like that. Like the only way a change can be made is if I go in personally, or if you give a power of attorney and that person goes in personally, right? You can protect yourself that way. With the banks, it's the same thing. You can have codes. The Social Security office here in the United States, you can also tell them that any changes, because Social Security payments can be rerouted. So you can contact the Social Security Department, create a PIN, make sure that they know that you have to come into the office, or there's other authentications that you have to do, like two-factor authentications that you have to do in order to get anything changed on your account. So anything like your banking, Social Security, anything that's very important to you, your home, your mortgage company, just make sure that you're contacting them and saying, am I protected? Can just anyone come in and change my mortgage or change my payments or do whatever they want to do to my account? And usually the answer is no. But better safe than sorry. So I'm glad you brought that up, Susan, because that's really important as well, that we want to make sure that our accounts are. And then Lauren says, I have a friend that worked for the DOJ on just Social Security fraud. Right. It's really prevalent. It's getting more and more prevalent where they are getting into people's accounts and then diverting the payments to another bank account. And it's very hard to then get it back. So just always making sure that you are protecting yourself, especially if you're getting ready to collect Social Security, or that you're at that age where you're collecting Social Security. You just want to make sure you're contacting the office, or you go into the office and that you talk to them and make sure that you are completely protected. And it's a catch-22 also, because when my dad was sick and dying, thank God I was able to get everything done while he was still in the hospital and kind of lucid. And luckily he had me on his bank account. But there's situations where if he just would have gone into a coma, I would have been a lot harder. So, you just want to make sure that you have lots of kind of backup plans in case something does happen to you. You do want somebody of authority to be able to go into your bank account, pay your bills, do all these things. So just things to be thinking about as you go through life, basically. And then, Lauren says, listen and trust your intuition above all else. Absolutely, Lauren. I mean, we have to trust our intuition, right? If something's saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, then just trust your gut and say, hang up, do whatever you have to do, or investigate further. I remember reading a long time ago that a lot of times women get attacked because they put themselves in situations, even though their gut is going, no, 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 like getting into an elevator with a man that you don't know. And they say that your sirens are going off. And instead of saying, no, I'll wait for the next one, you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you get into the elevator, right? A lot of times that happens with women, and we have to really go, okay, it's okay to be rude. It's okay to say, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this. It's okay to speak our voice. And that's what I love about our practice, because our practice really encourages that ability to speak our voice and be heard, right? You get strong in your meditation, in this practice with the Animal Reiki. You become really strong and really grounded so that you have a base where you can say, you know what, this doesn't feel right. No, I just don't feel comfortable. And after you do that a few times, after you really speak your voice, it actually feels kind of good to be like, no, I'm not the kind of person that just gets into an elevator with anything, and saying, yeah, no, I'll take the next one. Don't worry. I've got a phone call I got to make, whatever that is. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you feel like this is scary, because your spidey sense, especially women, your spidey sense will go bing. It's like your hairs will stand up. I mean, I've been in a store and I've walked past a guy and my hair stood up. I mean, his energy was so sour. He didn't do anything, but I could just feel like I was going to vomit. His energy was so bad. You know, like if he would have been getting in an elevator and I would have not trusted my instinct, you know, and got in, that's a dangerous thing. So always trust your instinct. That's the beautiful thing about women. We have this really beautiful spidey sense that's innate in us. And we're really in tune to it. But a lot of times we just go, oh, I'm just going to ignore that. Or, oh, well, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just do it anyway. No, practice saying no. Like Kelly always says, no is a full sentence. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to get in that elevator, right? And especially if they call you on the phone, say, no, this does not sound right. I'm going to call the police. Hang up the phone. On TikTok or Reels, one of them, there's a girl and she messes with them, like when they're trying to tell her to move money. And it's so funny because they get mean. They yell at her, they cuss at her, they tell her she's stupid. And I'm just like, oh my God. So these people, they'll try tactics that, you know, aren't even something that we would ever feel like we would succumb to, but they must get people succumbing to it when they call them stupid or they're mean to them, right? So just be aware of that. And Jimmy says, Gift of Fear book by Gavin DeBecker, recommended reading. Yeah, right? The Gift of Fear, exactly. It's like fear is actually a good feeling sometimes because it protects us. I mean, look at animals. They know when they're in danger. There is that fear for hormone or whatever going on, and it's keeping them safe. We have to go back to that too. And so Lauren says, I just emailed a probable scammer publisher and wrote, if you do not cease and desist, I will report you for harassment. Yes, exactly. Because these people, they won't stop. So we have to tell them, you know, no. I always just like put them straight to spam too. Even people who email me unsolicited, I just send them to spam because I'm like, if I didn't sign up for your email list, then this is spam. Because it's again, you know, but again, we're in our inbox and we're like, oh, somebody emailed me, you know, like we're still being polite. We're still being like, oh, this is happening. No, we can be like, this is my inbox. This is my house. You cannot come in here uninvited. And then, yeah, Lauren keeps calling you. Exactly. So that's, you know, you block his number, you spam the email, and exactly, you don't fall for that. So we are coming on time. I want to have time to do a quick little meditation. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? And again, I'm going to send you links to stuff for this. So, and a link to that article too, so you can read it. But if this happened to you, I know this happened to you, Lauren. I know this happened to you, Wilma. This isn't anything to be embarrassed about. This is just something, it's a teachable moment. And it's something that you can now share with others to warn them, right? And it sucks to lose money, but it's something that happened. And now you can use it instead of using it as a way to beat yourself up or to use it as a trauma incident. You use it as a way to say, you know what, this happened to me, but I'm going to stop it from happening to other people. And then you learn from it and you share it. Yeah, we are never alone in situations like this, is what Wilma says. And absolutely. And then Lauren says, Leah, so grateful, appreciate the tips. I have so much to share. Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly. It's like, Lauren, you went through it. It's scary. And I don't know, Lauren, if you want to just like quickly say something about it, and no pressure if you don't want to, totally up to you.
I'm happy to say anything you want. I mean, I did share a lot. Like basically I had gone to a really small meeting during COVID of naturopathic doctors and like legit people, with actually the sheriff of my county was speaking there, who's a super cool guy, and I've met him twice. And he's really into like fighting for the people. And somehow like I tried to connect on Telegram with the cryptocurrency expert, who was like a really good guy. Everybody knew him. And somehow this hacker like totally impersonated him. So from the very first contact, it was the hacker, and it had the crypto speaker's like picture on the Telegram account. And when I finally contacted the real guy, he's like, yeah, no, that's not me. And I asked him to please do an interview on his podcast, you know, to tell people, hey, I've been hacked and this is what happens. And I'd be happy to be interviewed by you and tell people exactly what happened, because I'm not the smartest person on the earth, but I have 3 degrees, including an MBA and a psychology degree.
Well, I'd say you're
And,
pretty smart.
like, I'm not the dumbest person on earth, and they sucked me in. Like, they're really brilliant. These people do things that doesn't even enter our consciousness.
Exactly.
And because we don't think like they think. And they just sucked me in over the course of 2 months, and they would randomly be like, "Hey, can you talk now?" And I'm like, "That's weird."
Yeah.
And my body was just like shaking at some points, and my heart sped up, and I was like, "Something's wrong with this." And they were like, "Oh, well, if you want to make a deposit," and they were having me make deposits in legitimate, not Coinbase, but the other big one. What is it?
There's Bitcoin, there's other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the big ones. And then they were like, I would have been okay if I left my money there. But then they said, "Oh, you're going to make way more money if you get into mining." And what they did is they put me into a fake mining site. And that's when the money
Wow.
got stolen. And they had even done things. They asked me questions like, "Well, here, I'll help you. You could go make a deposit at an ATM. Where do you live?" And
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, okay, now I'm feeling really uncomfortable."
Hmm.
So that's when like the red flags really started going up. But I called right away to the sheriff's office because I know him. I know he's a good guy. And they were like, "Yeah, we don't handle that because, the bureaucratic levels have state, local, right, federal, and it's considered federal. That's why they won't handle it. When it's an internet transaction, it's considered federal, and FBI has not even responded
Yeah.
to my report, and I don't expect to ever hear from them. So I appreciate you talking about um, the DOJ because I kind of had thought of them, but I didn't take that step. So thank you for all the tips. And if
Yeah.
people have questions, but I would just say, if I would have listened to my intuition when my body was freaking out, this would not have happened to me.
Yeah.
I really should have done my research on the mining company first.
But again, Lauren, they did to you what they did to Mary. They give you like some legitimate things, and they're not asking for money right away, and and you're doing it and you're like, okay, this is legit, this is legit. So then they ease you into, now they're going to have you do their dirty work, right? So
Right.
it's this whole, it's a grooming.
Yeah,
They groom
it
you.
is. It's very
And
cultish. It's like they tried to be really friendly and make friends with me. And
oh,
yeah,
and
you
they
got to be
empathize
really.
with you. Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, and with AI, a lot of them, they sound Middle Eastern, and so you can kind of like clue in a little bit. But now with AI,
Yeah.
it's very possible they'll sound just like an American or a Canadian or whoever, or a Frenchman or an Italian, whoever it is, whatever your native language is. And then, you're going to really think you're dealing with someone like from the FBI or from an agency that's supposedly there to protect you, but they're actually scamming you. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Lauren.
That's
I'm so sorry
interesting.
this
You're welcome.
happened.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're
definitely
welcome. I
contact.
appreciate this. And by the way, there were some words that we don't use in America that they were using that also was like, "Oh,
Oh,
that's weird. Like, wait, this guy's from America. Like, what?"
yeah.
So I would just say pay attention to, even if it just feels like a small thought, like honor that and follow it.
Yes, I love that. That's really good advice because, again, right, there's another little ding, ding, ding. And yet we're like, oh, well, maybe. And then again, what do? We say, oh, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just, this. Maybe I'm just not trustworthy, trusting of people. And instead, it's like, no, that's your intuition. And your intuition always will steer you right. So thank you so much, Lauren. So let's do our meditation. And you know what? I would like, because this is so heavy, I really want us to do the smiling meditation, okay? Because I want us to end on a high note and to feel good about the fact that we're here, we're learning, we're growing, and we are strong and vibrant women, and we have beautiful spidey sense. And so we are going to honor that. So let's go into Gasho, and we'll close our eyes and we'll close out all outward distractions. And we'll set our intent that we're open to receiving whatever it is that we need most at this moment in time. And let us just set our intent that we're open to holding space for any and all who need it. And if you just want to take a moment and bring to mind any people, animals, or situations that need healing, we'll put them into this beautiful healing circle we're creating. And whenever you're ready, you can put your hands face up or face down on your lap. And we'll take some cleansing breaths, breathing in deeply through your nose, pulling your breath down into your belly. Expand your belly and then slowly release your breath out your mouth. And a couple more breaths like that. When we breathe out our mouth, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. And that's really vital for when we meditate. It helps our body to really absorb the beautiful practice that we're beginning here and practicing. And now, whenever you're ready, bring your breath to normal, just slowly breathing in and out. Now, I'd like you to focus on breathing into your heart. Imagine your breath going into your heart and expanding your heart space, and on the out breath, feel your heart space expanding outward. Breathing in light and love and expanding that light and love outwards. And focus on that feeling of love at your heart and what love brings to your heart: comfort, peace, joy. Allow your body to release all anxiety and tension and just melt into this beautiful feeling of love. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind something that brings you incredible joy. It can be anything. It could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be a place, it could be a thing like ice cream. Just bring to mind something that makes you just smile so big with happiness and joy. And bring that thought into your heart to amplify that feeling of love, compassion, joy. Allow yourself to smile. And as you smile, feel the release of any tension that's left in your body. Allow yourself to smile and know that all is well. When we connect to this beautiful space of joy and love and compassion within us, we are connecting to our true selves. We are connecting to our strength and who we truly are at our core. And just sit and breathe in and out for a moment. And allow yourself to feel joy, to feel love. And allow your out breath to expand that feeling outwards and into the space around you. Let's bring our hands into Gasho and give thanks. Give thanks to yourself for being here, for being the beautiful being that you are. And give thanks to any animals or people that joined you. And set your intention to carry this beautiful feeling of love with you throughout your day today and into tomorrow. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands face up or face down on your lap. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. And thank you all for joining me and for letting me share this important information. And again, in the recap email, I'll give you some really important links that you can use. And just always remember, just keep yourself safe. Be really vigilant about your emails, about messages, or anything else that comes through. So thank you all so much. You're welcome, Wilma. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing your story. I really appreciate that. And thank you all for your comments too. Thank you, Dawn. It was great seeing you. Dawn and I are in class together. I'm so grateful doing a one-on-one. So that's fun. All right, everyone. I will see you. Next week we're going to talk about cats, Reiki and cats. Yes. So that'll be really fun. And then the week after, I think we're going to do dogs. But Kelly left. Thank you, Lauren. Kelly left, but Kelly's going to be here because she has all kinds of cat experience. And so she's going to be sharing some really great tips for when you sit and share Reiki with cats. And I'm going to share some of my scary tips because cats can bite. And then Susan, I hope you can make it because you have some really heartwarming incidents with you and doing Reiki with cats. So yes, that would be great if you can join us and share your experiences too. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. Mwah. Thank you so much. Bye, Diane. Oh, bye, my two Dianes. Bye, Wilma. Bye, Mary Lynn. Bye, Dawn. Bye, Susan. Bye, Claudia. Bye, Lauren.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye.
Bunnies.
Exactly. Bye.